Tom, how are you?
Good morning, man. How are you guys doing? Good to talk to you, Jay Hood.
We are fired up for football this weekend. It is my favorite game on the board. I do believe the Bears take a step in the right direction and get a victory over the Rams. My question to you is, are they failing Caleb by not trying to establish the run on the interior, rather running a propensity of their offensive plays on the ground to the edge?
Well, if you came in here and you kind of look back at a realistic development of a rookie quarterback and they don't have a running game, then they are failing him. And one thing you got to do in order to incorporate the entirety of an offensive game plan is make sure you have the running game that is connected to every other element of successful offensive football. So if you're asking me the question, in some terms, in some respects, they are failing Caleb. But, I guess they have to improve, technically, fundamentally, their physical style of play and everything that goes along with that interior running game.
Tom is brought to you by the Village of Rosemont. When the offense looks good, Tommy, what do you like most about it? Tom? Guess nothing. Guess he doesn't like anything about the offense for the Bears.
We lost them.
We will try to reestablish with Tom Thayer momentarily.
Correct.
But it's right, Cap. I think one of the things that I see is that when Caleb has a clean pocket, and that's for any other quarterback, you can be able to get down the field. And we've seen the numbers that look great. And so, Tom, when the offense looks right, what do you like most about through the 3 weeks?
When the offense looks right, it's more of the incorporation of the tight end position, Cole Kmet and his targets and the profits from his targets last week that result in first downs. The play action factor that can lead to completions to Rome and DJ, hopefully Keenan Allen at some point, and still keeping the tight end position involved. Because, the thing about it is this team needs repetitive first downs. And first downs lead to touchdowns. First downs lead to time of possession. The first downs lead to time of possession that results into a fresher defense. So when you kind of put the ball into the hands of Caleb Williams, but allow the other positions to be incorporated rather than hopefully the offensive line can sustain a 2 to 3 second protection to get balls, 15 yards or longer downfield. I don't know if you're really doing Caleb, a gratitude at that point. I think you're kind of doing him an early development disservice. So if we come out here in Sunday and the tight end is ignored, they're still trying to sustain protection downfield. Last week the Rams defensive front, they pressured Purdy 27 times. So, that's one thing that travels well.
Yep.
So, getting Caleb, moving forward in a positive direction. And I still have all the faith in the world in Caleb. I'm not going, oh, my God, did they make the right choice? It's no, oh, my God, how can we support Caleb throughout the beginning of this regular season and this football life to make sure that we put the best player on the field?
So we saw Cole Kmet get 10 catches the other day. Rome at 110 yards receiving. I don't like how they're using DJ Moore. You watch every snap of every game, of every practice. Can you explain to me why DJ looks like he is more of an afterthought in this offensive attack through 3 weeks?
Because he's identified as the number one receiver for the Bears. So the first attempt of the opponent is to take him out of the game and make Caleb move his eyes the width of the field and try to identify the next opportunity target. If you look at a couple of those play-action passes that were big catches for Roma Dunze, it was because of DJ Moore running a deception route, running an interference route to make sure that Rome gets into an open opportunity. So those types of things are going to plague the Bears going forward until they incorporate that next guy up. And hopefully the continuance of using Cole, the tight end position, incorporate Gerald Everett a little bit more, that will help open up targets for DJ Moore, because now the safety in the linebacker position is going to have to face or factor in that underneath coverage a little bit more than following DJ downfield, and then you'll get him heavily involved in the passing game. But we all knew that this was going to happen. Throughout the offseason, we all talked about it. Who are they going to call the number one receiver for the Bears? And so, all right, DJ Moore is identified as that guy. And now how do you get the other guys involved? In moving forward, it's tough for a young quarterback to be able to move his eyes around the field if they don't have sustained positive protection.
Tom Thayer with us on the Cap and J Hood Morning Show on ESPN 1000, and we're streaming on the ESPN Chicago app. Tom, when it comes to the running game in particular, I asked Cap about the running game and our 5 burning questions. I said, should DeAndre Swift start against the Rams, or should you give it to Roschon Johnson to start off with? I still believe in Thunder and Lightning as far as a 2 running back system. But what's best for the Bears? Roschon ran it well, and Swift, he's not making holes, and the offensive line's not making holes for him. So what gives?
You know, Jay Hood, I think it's a commitment to the whole called. And I don't want to sound like a broken record. However, when you devise an offensive running game, the block, the positioning, the head placement, the shoulder, the attack, the field, the understanding where the linebackers are going to be by the time the play flows, it's an exact positioning. And I think if you allow the running back freedom on an interior running game to run where he sees, you're doing the offensive running game a disservice. And so make them commit to the interior, make them on the interior plays commit to the whole call. You know, Caleb said it yesterday in the press conference when he was at the podium. This is a running game that's just looking for 4 yards a carry. That's exactly right. It's a super intelligent thing said by the young guy, because if you can go and repeatedly average 4 yards per carry, and maybe you do it on first and second down, you're talking about 3rd and 2. You're talking about so many options open, big play threats downfield, just continuing to get those first downs. And so you're not asking to reinvent the Bears offense. You're just asking them to commit to the whole call. And then if it's not successfully done, then you're going to know where the concern lies in terms of identifying the offensive blockers who aren't doing their job correctly. If you give the running back a chance to freelance on interior running plays and they want to cut it back because you're facing a lot of 7 and 8 man lines, you get it back to an unblocked tackler. And then you're just.
Go ahead.
You there, Tom? I thought we lost him. I think he's having some cell issues. I wanted to ask him, Olin is emphatic that he would move Tevin Jenkins to right guard and go him and Darnell Wright. And that's a power running game on the right side. He goes, and that's how I'm fixing things.
So Darnell Wright and Tevin Jenkins on the right side.
Correct.
Okay, what would that look like, Tom?
I'm not sure that would help things a lot. You know, Matt Pryor is a big body. You know, you talk about putting a 6'7", 335-pound frame up in the line of scrimmage. You should expect more out of your double teams, and then have the running back favor that double team and then try to get up to that second level. You know, Tevin, he's got to play the best brand of football that he can possibly play, and we've seen it out of him before. And then I guess, you got, Matt Pryor in there and see how he does week 2. And then I think you have to investigate the talents of Karan Amagaji and see what determination you make in his practicing where his skills fit best.
What'd you think of the defense overall? Cap and I talked about, Thayer, he's going to run the football, and I think he did a good job, clearly, especially in spurts, definitely toward the end of the game.
Yeah, he broke that big run.
Yeah, so I get, it's fine. So what do you think of the defense as far as them, they're getting to the quarterback and in the pass rush? What stands out most there?
Anthony Richardson, you have to respect his athleticism, so it does, interfere with just rush to the point of drop back. You have to make sure that you have an outside contain rush by the 2 outside defenders, so that slows the immediate attack process because of his athleticism. I thought the defense, I think they're playing a good brand of football. They're having a lot of interchangeable bodies on the defensive line, both on the inside and the outside. But again, you got to be complemented by time of possession by the offense so you can go out there and then you can freshly attack your opponent. I think this week, the first three quarterbacks they play are all second-year guys, even though C.J. Stroud is Rookie of the Year. Now you're playing a guy in Matthew Stafford that he's going to be in control of the defense. He's going to know exactly what he sees breaking the huddle. He's going to know what he said in the huddle. He's going to know how everything fits together. So now, rather than us just watching a determined rush, we're going to have to pay attention to coverages both from the linebacker and the defensive back, because Matthew Stafford is going to know exactly every single time where he wants to go with the ball, as much as you know what defense you're playing.
So we had Flus on the other day. We get him the day after every game. And last year, I said to Matt, do you allow Justin Fields to audible? He said, of course we do. He could change anything. If he sees something, he wants to change a play, absolutely. So I said, well, I got a couple questions for you, Matt. One, third down at the 1 yard line, why are you trying to block Tyquan Lewis with DeAndre Carter? Why? Because a year ago, you told Waddle and Sylvie, that's a mistake on me. We won't do that again. We got to go a big on a big. We can't ask a little guy to block a big guy. And as you've seen on the tape, he engulfs DeAndre Carter and tackles Khalil Herbert all in one motion. I said, and then on fourth down, from what I was told, there's a check that Caleb has, but because the play clock's running down, Caleb said, I just want to get the play off, and then it blows up and you lose 12 years. Can he audible? And he wouldn't answer the question. He just said, we just have to execute better. Can he not change the play?
I'm sure he's got a built-in audible inside the play called. But, I think you're really doing yourself a disservice when you're in shotgun on goal line offense. On that third down, when you have a little guy at one of the most important points of attack, and you see what happens there, I don't know. To me, I got an extra offensive lineman in on short yardage and goal line. I have multiple uses of all the tight ends I have, and I'm going to be quarterback under center. So, when you look at the design of the play, not necessarily in my past do I agree with it. But if you don't have a built-in audible and you see that the defense has the advantage before the ball is ever snapped, I think that you either have to call a timeout or you have to understand that you're in an unrealistic position to win the play, and then the play results in an 11-yard loss.
Yeah. By the way, with the Bears taking on the Rams, Tommy, what are your memories of taking on the Rams? I see a lot of wins here. I see a loss against the Rams. This is when the Rams played at Anaheim Stadium in '83. Do you recall this? 21-14, Rams beat the Bears, and Peyton threw for a touchdown in that game.
Yeah, '83. I wasn't there. Again, I didn't come aboard. I was drafted in '83, but I came aboard in '85, and so '85 was the NFC Championship game. And then I think the next time we played the Rams, their kicker hit like a 51-yarder at the end of the game to beat us. So, I guess the best of the memories is, beating them in the playoffs, and the worst of the memories is getting beat at home in a late field goal.
Yeah, I remember Dieter Brock when you played against him in the NFC title game.
Right.
Looking around going, why don't they put a dome on this place? Because the wind was just, and the cold. I'm like, this game's over. Done.
86, November 86, Rams, Bears, Soldier Field. Bears, the Rams won that 20-17.
That's the one.
That was the last second field goal. But man, I used to know that kicker. I can't remember his name now. But yeah, that was not a fun game to lose, especially at home.
Mike Lansford. That was a kicker. I know we had Butthead and have Mike Lansford listed here. And
is that okay? Well, yeah, that's not the name I remember, but yeah, obviously it's got to be if they got him listed as their kicker. But yeah, he hit a big one, like a 51-yarder or something, to lose the game.
Well, it's going to be an interesting game this weekend. The Rams if they were coming in 0-3, I'd be concerned. I do think this is a chance for the Bears to get right. Do you expect Keenan Allen to play? I know he was upgraded to limited yesterday.
I only want to play if he's 100% and he's going to be able to be a game day active and be ready to go the whole game. I don't want a trial and error guy on game day activation.
Yep.
And he's a veteran that knows if he can go or cannot go. And then if it is a Tyler Scott or Colin Johnson or one of those guys, put him in. But, Cap, I think of the next 2 games as really a telltale signs of where the Bears are at and where they're going. Because the Rams are good and they got experience at quarterback, and then Andy Dalton playing for Carolina. You see what he did in his first start, and he's going to be emotionally charged up. So I'm kind of on a little 2-game slate here to see, to give you a better indicator of where the Bears are at.
I think they're getting closer, Cap, offensively. They're getting
hope.
closer. I think this, again, I said it last Sunday. I thought that was a winnable ball game. We let it slip through our fingers. Tommy, I think they should be able to win on Sunday. They should.
That's what Waddle said. He said they're close to hitting some big ones.
Come on, man.
I agree, but I brought it up the other day. I'm also curious: are the Bears in line for an identity change? And is this the era that the Bears become a passing team rather than a running team? And so, if you allow Caleb to throw it 52 times last week, how many are you going to let him throw this week? And then if that's the case, are all these weapons that we've talked about the Bears bringing aboard, are the Bears going to become that passing team that we've always been curious about?
By the way, I gave a stat yesterday, credit to Brad Biggs. It was his stat. Since 2015, teams that attempt 50 or more passes, the record, 23 and 141.
Yeah, I mean, they're always in a catch-up mode, and, there's not many quarterbacks that you rely upon to throw it 52 times to stay in the game, So, that definitely is a concern, but when you bring in all these pass-catching weapons and you already have a couple aboard, you got to be curious of where your team is going.
No, and listen, and it's something for us to talk about. Is it Eberflus's way or is it Matt Waldron's way? Because
Shane
Waldron's
Yeah.
way. What did I say?
Matt Waldron.
God damn it. Shane Waldron's way. So my whole thought is that is it his way or is it head coach's way? Because Eberflus told us he wants to run the football.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Tommy, Monday morning, we got to run
as,
the ball.
As the conditions deteriorate during the NFL season, it's mandatory to be able to run the ball. I listen, I'm all for running the ball, but when you talk about the roster that they have in place right now and Caleb Williams, where are they going? It's just a question. I mean, I'm not answering anything. I'm just asking a question out loud.
We will find out. Have a great broadcast, man. We love talking to you.
Good talking to you guys. Adios.
We'll see you.
Tom Thayer on